So today I felt like doing something a little different. Instead of a normal PowerPoint presentation, I will be doing a video presentation. Why? I don't know. I guess I'm just more comfortable with it, I guess. So today, I shall be talking to you about self-reflexivity found in Singing in the Rain. A wonderful movie with grand musical numbers, great choreographed dances, larger-than-life characters, eroticism, propaganda, drug abuse, death, and murder. Wait a second. What movie is playing right now? Reefer Madness? Huh. Well, since it's already in the DVD tray, I might as well do that. Let me just adjust something really quickly. So in all honesty, I will mainly be talking about a movie musical called Reefer Madness. My idea was approved by our professor, and here I am, talking to you about self-reflexivity in Reefer Madness, and a little bit on how it compares to Singing in the Rain. I am going to assume a majority of you have not seen this movie, and as such I won't go too in-depth, so you can still follow, since the movie was not on our main curriculum. So if it seems like my analysis of the movie seems a bit shallow, it's mainly because of that. Reefer Madness is a 2005 made-for-TV movie musical which is based off the Broadway musical, which is based off the original Reefer Madness film from the 1930s, and is another great film to see self-reflexivity in. But, to see that self-reflexivity, you must know about the original film that started it all. It is the 1930s in America. The Great Depression is in full swing, Prohibition is strictly being enforced, the mob and mafia rule the underworld, and the world is on the cusp of World War II. So, what should America's greatest concern be? Finding those pesky reefer smokers, of course. Reefer Madness, originally entitled Tell Your Children, is a 1936 anti-marijuana propaganda film. It starts at a school PTA meeting where a man talks about the dangers of marijuana and shows a film that shows an example of that. Billy Harper and Mary Elaine are two starstruck high school lovebirds who do nothing but recite bad Romeo and Juliet to each other.
Tongues by night, like softest music to attending ears.
Romeo!
My dear.
One day, Billy is seduced by the demoralizing effects of the reefer after having it be introduced to him by some of the worst gangsters ever, who just give their drugs away for free. Under the power of the reefer, everything begins to fall apart as Billy becomes a sexualized animal. One of the gangsters tries to rape Mary. Billy does a hit and run and then proceeds to shoot Mary to death. Another gangster kills herself by jumping out of a window, and the remaining gangsters are put behind bars. The moral of the story is, if your children smokes marijuana, they become savage, sexualized, immoral, unlawful, killing, reefer-smoking machines. Yeah, the movie is pretty bad, and finds itself on many bad movie lists. To some, it's so bad, it's good, which makes it really fun to watch and to laugh at. Someone thought to add music to the corniness, and then Reefer Madness, the movie musical, was born. Another good example of self-reflexivity found in film, which kind of contrasts the self-reflexivity found in Singing in the Rain. What I mean by that is this. Singing in the Rain is self-reflexive because at its core, it's a musical about making a musical. It shows what goes behind making a musical as well as the hardships and turmoils that one would face, but in very light and peppy song and dance numbers. On the flip side, Reefer Madness isn't self-reflexive because of that, but rather because it is very much a parody of the original propaganda film. It brings to light many of the odd and stupid bits of the original movie, and blows them way out of proportion. Much like how Airplane is self-reflexive about disaster movies, or Blazing Saddles is self-reflexive about the Western genre and cinematic tropes at the time, Reefer Madness is self-reflexive about its original source in the same ways. The movie is chock full of examples, but let me bring to light some of them. The opening musical number mirrors the PTA meeting at the beginning of the original film. It goes on to visualize the mass hysteria and mob mentality when it came to drug control, through a zombie attack of all things, led by Alan Cumming of all people. It even goes on to poke fun at how much people were against communism and socialism at the time with these few verses.
Creeping like a communist, it's knocking at our doors, turning all our children into hooligans and whores, voraciously devouring the way things are today, savagely deflowering the good old USA. Stealthy as a socialist, it slithers up our shores, turning all our children into hooligans and whores. This smoking bowl of evil bears the choking stench of sin. It burrows like a weevil under tender Christian skin. This Reefer Madness, Reefer Madness, Reefer Madness, Reefer Madness, oh so mad.
Jimmy and Mary recite Romeo and Juliet together once in the original film? Why, that is turned into a musical number, and their entire life throughout the movie is reflective of that tragic story.
We are just like Romeo and Juliet. We're happy, young, and bubbling with love. I can't wait to read the ending. I can't either, but I'm sure it turns out real swell. I bet Romeo marries his Juliet. They have a baby and make lots of friends. That's probably the way the play ends.
And to give one final example, the original film ends on a note to keep America great, and to do your part to stop the unpatriotic evil of marijuana out of America's borders. The musical ends on a similar note, in very over-the-top, self-aware fashion, of course, as well. They also sneak in a couple of jabs at the racism and McCarthyism of the time, too.
Just who to demonize?
What politics do you despise?
We're taking down the fingerprints of jazz musicians and immigrants. Trust us to tell them the truth, truth, truth. Everybody gotta know,
The ABCs of spin.
And turning your neighbors in.
Oh, I can't.
It all comes down to apple pie.
George Washington would never lie. Trust us to tell them the truth, truth, truth. Everybody gotta know,
Let every serving man obey their Uncle Sam. That famous finger set to point.
I want you to drop that joint. Trust us to tell them the truth, truth, truth. Everybody.
My time is coming short, and I didn't even get to the really absurd parts, like the giant reefer-induced orgy song sequence, or when Jesus comes down and sings directly to Jimmy. I only wanted to introduce you to the self-aware self-reflexiveness of Reefer Madness, because I hope you will go home and watch the musical yourself too. After learning about self-reflexivity and Singing in the Rain, Reefer Madness acts as another great self-reflexive musical to watch and observe. And even if you don't want to try and find the self-reflexivity in the movie, if you enjoyed Singing in the Rain, I'm sure you will probably enjoy watching Reefer Madness as well. So while my introduction was not that in-depth, I hope you will use it as a base to build upon as you explore the self-reflexivity of Reefer Madness for yourself. And if you can't be bothered to watch it at all, at least leave on Jim Cummings' final message to you.
When danger's near, exploit their fear.